Critical Blast, where pop culture gets blasted.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at criticalblast.com. For those who don't know what criticalblast.com is, notice there is a .com in it. It's not a redirect to the YouTube channel. We are a movie review and entertainment industry review site. So, if you want to find out what's going on in comics, movies, DVDs, books, music, pop on over, see what we got. I think you might find some things you like there. We are also a publishing house. We've gotten into that business now. So if you look at the links below, way below, because we put our guests up top, they're important to us, you will find links to Bulletproof Origins by Stephen J. Mitchell, which just now came out in paperback. The hardcover has been out for a year. This is a teenage superhero young adult novel. And we also have links to The Devil You Know, our latest horror anthology, 20 horror short stories by some up-and-coming voices. We think you'll like that one as well. Now, speaking of horror, we're delving into some gothic tales of horror tonight. And with us to discuss that, we have the writer of the series, Nasser Rabadi. Nasser, welcome to the show.
Yo, thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. And we have the artist Vic King with us. Vic, how's things going?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. If I was any better, they'd probably insist I have a drug test.
Absolutely.
So I watched some other streams about the title here, and that allowed me to learn how to pronounce it, which was ASYL. I've never heard that word before. I've heard of asylum, but
it's the German. It's the German word for asylum.
Oh, okay. So it's does that mean the story is set in Germany?
No.
No. But the connection is that we part of the whole feel of the book is that we used German expressionism to be able to affect a scary, spooky, twisted, dreamlike state throughout the whole entire book.
Okay.
So in the spirit of German expressionism, ASYL and it's kind of a cool shortening of asylum. So I thought it made sense. And Nasser seemed to like it. So
yeah. The rumors were that it was actually an acronym, which stood for screw you, Liam. But
that's gold.
I call him as
that kind of appropriate now.
It just works out that way. So German expression, so more Metropolis and less Nosferatu.
Well, no, Nosferatu was German expressionism, but it's more like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
All right, I like it. So what's the? I know it's Dracula. It's a Dracula story, and it's based on a lost film. Can you delve into a little bit of that?
Yeah, the lost film is Dracula's Death, which was about a lady hunted by Dracula in an insane asylum. And because it's lost, I thought that'd be a cool story to tell, because there's no script, there's no film anymore, it's lost. And I just sort of wrote my own idea of what it was like. And because I had watched Dr. Caligari around that same time when I was thinking about Dracula's Death, I had the idea that this story would work a lot better with that German expressionism if it were really trippy and dreamlike, and reality was sort of strange and twisted, and you're not quite sure if it's a dream or reality, that sort of thing. Reality and dreams sort of float in and out of each other. So that was why I chose German expressionism as the art style I wanted for it, and the way I wanted to tell the story.
All right. So I know how that's done in film. What kind of techniques do you use for sequential art storytelling to show that kind of drifting?
Well, Vic could elaborate on this, but for me, when I was writing it, at least, what I put in to show the expressionism was just the I'd make notes about distorted backgrounds and make this exaggerated and twist this, and also with the whole the point is like it flows in and out of dreams, and so while writing it, I was very conscious of making it a trippy story. But Vic could go more into detail about the art end of it, how he did that sequentially.
So the challenge for me in interpreting Nasser's vision was how do I incorporate this German expressionism and use it in a way where it's not just like, okay, the people are all realistic, but the buildings are all twisted and everything, because that would feel too disjointed. So what I wanted to be able to do was be able to blend it, have them kind of blend together in certain areas of the imagery. So there will be certain areas of the imagery where some of the German expressionism and will creep into the characters, and some of the reality will creep into the buildings and the settings. The way I also wanted to use it was in the flow of the storytelling, in the flow of my pacing. I wanted that kind of expressionistic feel to how I actually structure the movement throughout the entire book. So you will notice at different points in time, it's not set and relegated to confined panels and typical panel structures for a comic book. It's definitely fluid.
Well, you have a video on your Indiegogo page, and I've got that queued up here. Let's take a look at that and give viewers an idea of what it is that you've got. I'm going to take the little banner off here so we don't interrupt the flow of information.
He was the most grotesque creature, the arch vampire. Dracula. Count Dracula.
That's actually Vic's laugh there at the end.
It is actually. It's early morning laugh.
Early morning laugh. Okay. I definitely get the gothic feel. There's definitely some weird imagery in there too, because I was looking at the one, getting the page reloaded here so we can look at the tears later here. The one picture where he's biting her neck, but his tongue is going over the top of her neck. I'm like, how do you do that? Well, you're a vampire, you're flexible, but.
Well, he's at that point, he's not actually biting it. He's kind of behind it and he's licking her neck. But that's one of the areas where I've distorted for effect purposes. I've distorted reality with the character. So that's one of the spots where the German expressionism comes into play.
Well, it definitely made it not weird. What's the word
creepy.
I'm looking for? Disorienting.
It's creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way that I'm trying to portray Dracula in this book artistically, in following with what Nasser has written, is that this version of Dracula isn't like your standard run of the mill classic horror film Dracula. This Dracula is like the spirit in the embodiment of evil, you know? And to me, as I was drawing that scene that he had written down, I was like, what would this evil person do? What would this evil spirit, this evil being do? You know, he's found his prey. He's about to do the Dracula bite. This is a delicious morsel for him. This is his, this is everything that he wants. It's his ultimate desire is to destroy this innocent girl, right? So right. So the creepy imagery kind of plays into it.
Now, the story is set in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
One would assume that the woman is, has mental problems.
Perhaps.
Or perhaps not. Yes, if you can be committed to an asylum by evil people for evil purposes. But it begs the question of whether or not the narrator is reliable also, since you're in an asylum and the characters are all in an asylum.
Right.
Well, is any narrator reliable?
Somebody knows the secret.
So, what I got out of the way Nasser wrote the script, and Nasser can correct me if I'm wrong or not, but this is the way I've been reading the script and interpreting it for the book and everything. And it's the way I'm portraying it with the
correct you if you are wrong.
So it's actually two separate. There's two separate sets of horror involved. The initial set of horror is the fact that here's this young woman, right, who is trapped in not knowing whether she's in reality, a nightmare, or just insanity, right? And that's terrifying enough of itself for her, right? But now it's even worse because she's got this ultimate spirit of evil, Dracula, who is hunting her, which kind of heightens. It is heightened. The terror of Dracula is heightened by the fact that she's all disorientated, doesn't know what's real and what's not.
And there's not a lot of places you can run to in an asylum.
Right. There's not a lot of places she could go for help. And that's sort of something I talked about in a way earlier in a video I did today, talking about different scenarios that your character might be in and the best way to show them for effect. And if this lady was just being chased anywhere, the audience would know she could, potentially escape, potentially find something that could help her in any Dracula story. They're always, finding a steak or they're finding, garlic or anything, and anything that can help them. But once you're in an insane asylum, there's nowhere for you to go. Everybody thinks you're crazy. So now what is she going to tell people if she says that Dracula's after me? She's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and she needs to find a way out.
Yeah, and she's not going to find anybody who can trust her. And they tend to hide the sharp, pointy wooden objects in an asylum so that people don't use them on themselves.
Right,
yeah,
like
very
wooden knives.
Yeah, nothing to really work with. So you got some tears on here. I'm seeing it's lettered by Matt Bealey from Otis Stein. I like that book too. So it's a 20-page book. I saw that in the video.
Yeah.
Were you able to tell the whole story that you wanted to tell in just 20 pages? I'm surprised it wasn't more of a thicker graphic novel, I guess, like a 48-pager.
No, I mean we didn't need more pages, and there's first of all no need to do more pages. I told the whole story in 20, and then there's also the fact that we just wanted to make this real simple. Didn't want to bite off more than we could chew.
I understand that. Yeah, I mean, when the story's done, the story's done. You've got to wrap it up. But I didn't know if there was any, if that was always the plan.
Oh, if the story wanted to be longer, it would have been longer.
So we got the first tier here is you can get two.
And
go ahead.
Well, at this point, it's 20 pages, and that's what we're aiming to come in on, at exactly. And that's what I'm going to try to come in at artistically. There may possibly be a page or two extra because of how I wind up having to tell the story further on. I've got halfway through the book laid out. So I'm trying to, finish up that first half, and then I can lay out the second half, and I'll have a better idea if we're going to hit the exact 20 pages. But that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, you got to at least work 2 more pages in there. I mean, your standard floppy is 22 pages of story in it, right?
Oh, well, I mean, we'll have the extra thank you pages and perhaps even a signing page. So there might be some extra pages in there. But as far as the story, just 20 pages. All
right. And you can get 2 of these black and white interiors, I'm assuming all the way through, which is appropriate. It gives it much more of a Hammer film kind of feel to it that way. Two of them and get your name on the thank you page for $50. You got 7 out of 50 of those claimed. But when you come down right to the, just the book itself, with which you get a patch, a sticker, and a trading card, all limited edition items, it's only $10. So that's actually a very surprisingly affordable level. Usually it's like $20 for a comic book. But people are finding ways to bring their prices down.
Yeah, we like to make it affordable. All my books have been lower priced.
Now, I find it interesting that the digital tier is the same price as the physical tier. Obviously, you're not getting the sticker.
It's already so dirt cheap. I just didn't want to bring it down any further.
Yeah. Well, people are taking it, so why bother? But
it's mostly for the international folks, anyways.
I understand. Yeah, so they don't have to ship it because it's a $10 comic book, $30 shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we're doing is there are going to be people that want to still get the physical copy, and so they are going to pay the shipping. And we understand what a crunch that is on people. It's an unfortunate and unavoidable cost, because that's actually what the shipping actually costs. So what we're doing to defray that, or make it seem more appealing or satisfying to that particular customer, is that each one of the international physical backers will get an original sketch card by me.
Oh, nice. Make that a little bit more worth the shipping costs that way.
Right. So an original piece of art that's a $20 item right there. So it does kind of defray it a bit.
Right. And you can get 2 copies and save $2. You still get 2 copies of the trading cards and 2 patches and 2 stickers. So you just doubled everything.
Yep.
Or you could get the book all the way down to $5 if you want to order 10 copies. This is a good retailer level here. I'm assuming that's more of a retailer kind of level.
Sort of. Anybody could buy it.
Yeah. You can buy 10 copies, and I was going to say if it was Halloween, you could give them out for Halloween presents. People do that, right? Seems normal to me.
Yeah, you could get that tier, and you could give them out as gifts throughout the year.
Yeah.
Different people's birthdays, Halloween. You could even save them for next Christmas. I don't, because unfortunately we're not going to be delivering by this Christmas, but I think it's a good tier for people who want to do who want the most bang, who want to help out the campaign a lot, but want the most bang for their buck. that is a really good tier.
Yeah, and like I said, it's an excellent retailer kind of tier. I mean, if you were a store owner and you wanted to put this book on your shelf, well, you're buying it for half the cover price. You're going to buy them for $5 a piece, put them out for $10 a piece. The shipping is going to be dispersed across 10 copies, so the shipping is not going to be that much more for 10 copies than it is for one. So that's a great little tier for all you store owners out there. Pay attention, or you can get the comic with a head sketch, a 4x6, which is fairly sizable kind of index card. Little bit bigger than your recipe card, definitely bigger than a trading card, and you still get a patch and a trading card and a sticker. I'm going to assume that if I scroll far enough down here, the stickers and patches are going to show up, or
not yet.
Okay, so we haven't seen them. If you guys have images of them, you want to share your screen and show them, that'll be cool. Just let me know. We'll pop it up there.
No, I've gotten quotes, but I haven't actually, like I don't have a prototype of any patch yet. But I'm familiar with the company because I know some people I've gotten patches from before that use that same company.
I've never done patches. I have done stickers, and we do the sticker mule thing here. So we have our brand on patches, and if anybody wants one of these, by the way. Just send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Critical Blast at 1097 Prestwick Drive, Belleville, Illinois 62221. Yes, I dox myself on every single show, so I beat you all to it. And we will.
I'll be sending you a self-addressed stamped envelope.
we'll pop 2 of these into every envelope we get, so that you can have one and share one with a friend.
I put them on my sketchbooks.
I put the back of my monitor here is covered with stickers from everybody I get them from. So it's turning into a Comicsgate crowdfunding scene, comic book display billboard.
That's awesome.
So here we've got her. It looks like she's outside of the asylum here, and there must be something beyond the fourth wall that has got Dracula's attention and her attention. I don't know what it could be, because where his head is, there would be nothing pulling my attention away, unless it's a man with a gun.
Well, I mean, I guess you'll just have to keep reading to find out.
I will have to do that.
It could be you, the reader.
Oh, I hate when that happens. I would be like, no, don't look at me. And this was the part that was like weird, because it's like he's licking her neck with the back of his tongue. I'm like, that's weird. He's just wetting it before he puts his teeth into her.
Yep.
What is it about vampires that people find so romantic? I mean, they're vicious monsters.
I don't know. I've always wondered that myself.
I mean, even in the Christopher Lee movies, just like the beautiful women just kind of fall and swoon to him.
Maybe it's a superpower.
It must be. It's a pheromone. It's vampire pheromones. I wonder if anybody's touched on that in any vampire novels. To mention that they have some sort of a pheromone in them.
There's been a lot of different, like academic breakdowns of what the whole vampire appeal is, and everything, and why vampires are considered sexy, and why are people allured to it. And one of the best ones that I had read was how it's really like Dracula or vampires are really an allegory for mankind's like inner demon, like how we're sometimes led to do evil things, how we can be lured to the dark side. It's the seduction of the evil that it represents. And I think that's pretty viable. I don't know if it's all encompassing, but
yeah, I think that's interesting too. I think a lot of the classic monsters they're monsters because they reflect an aspect of mankind that is monstrous. Here you've got, like you said, giving into the evil side. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde explored that part of humanity a lot as well.
Yep.
The Invisible Man was a morality play on, if you couldn't get caught, you'd do anything you could, simply because you could. Yeah, I love this line art here. And I think black and white is definitely the way to do it. Now, here you've got that. This is some of that nice expressionism thing here, because obviously these windows are more suited for like Whoville than a real German.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, because they're all cockeyed and callywomped, and I don't know if she's running down a real street or if she's lost in her mind somewhere.
Yeah, neither do I.
But it's definitely cold enough outside that we can see her breath. So
yeah, one of the things I did artistically is that I went back and I studied a lot of German expressionist block printing, and so there's a ton of landscape material, German expressionism. So that helped me out a lot. There was a lot to use as references to how they would bend and twist things, and I use that to inform how I would. However, it's not like a steadfast rule. I didn't copy any of the actual art from them. I just incorporated how they did it into what I was doing, because of how I wanted it to fit in with the flow of the story.
Sure.
Yeah.
I had a question in mind. Now I can't remember what it was, and it wasn't, does your vampire sparkle? Because I'm fairly sure he doesn't.
Are you sure?
Well, special glitter edition. You're gonna glue some glitter onto the cover of like 5 of them, say sparkly vampire version.
Maybe. You never know. You never know what might happen, but maybe they'll sparkle somehow.
I wanted our Dracula to be kind of a cross between like Clark Gable and like
I see it,
and like Peter Cushing. You know,
see the Clark Gable.
I didn't think about Clark Gable until you just said him. Then I was like, yes, of course.
Yeah, so I wanted him to teeter that line between horrifically scary and kind of ruggedly handsome at the same time. That's kind of and the time frame that it all is kind of set in, at least visually, for a significant part of the book is in that like 1920s type Hollywood, 1930s type Hollywood aesthetic. And so that's what I was trying to go with also.
Yeah, I definitely see it now.
I was gonna, where is it set? I mean, I kind of joked earlier that, is it set in Germany because it's called ASYL? But do we know a setting, or is it even important?
No, we don't. The reader's not going to find out. Maybe we'll reveal it in the future, but right now it is pretty nameless.
All right, so future. That's something to key.
What I can tell you artistically, though, right, is that the asylum that I used to base this story, the one in the story, off from, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, right, and about 30 minutes away from me was this huge insane asylum called Danvers State Mental Hospital, and it was closed down like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. And yeah, it was 30 some years ago. And because I used to break in there as a teenager, and it was so dilapidated, so it was just so scary and everything. And that mental hospital, I already knew that it was used for a movie called Section 9, which is a horror movie.
Yeah.
So if you watch Section 9, you can actually see the asylum that I'm talking about. But that asylum, as I was getting reference pictures to use for this book, that asylum, I found out, was used as inspiration by H.P. Lovecraft. And it was also the asylum that was the inspiration for Arkham Asylum in DC Comics.
Well, and the asylum that, H.P. Lovecraft had was called Arkham. They took the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took it from H.P. Lovecraft. It was in a Batman 80-page giant where it was like a throwaway reference that they talked about the Arkham Hospital. Just one time. It was sometime in the 70s it finally got a name. And then, of course, we named it. Now we got to stick with it. That, too, in the chat is making sure that we play our shake and bake moment here. You'll notice your numbers have gone up just a little bit here because he has come in and backed the book.
It's shaking bake. I help.
So he has helped raise the numbers just a little bit. I back this. This reminds me of back when vampires were actually scary. Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I had somebody at a convention one time tell me that, if your vampiric effect can be reproduced by things you bought at Bath and Body Works, you're not a vampire, you're a male prostitute. These are the good scary vampires. They're vicious monsters. Now, you said future, you might reveal something. That tells me that you've got plans in mind to go forward with more of this story. Is this a one and done, or
It's a one and done?
All right, but revisitable at some point, maybe?
Well, there's so much that could happen in an insane asylum.
And yet, at the same time, there's so little that can happen in an insane asylum. How would you move forward with something like that?
We've already talked about a few different ones. We've talked about the one I think we're going to do after this one is probably going to be a monster that gets set loose inside the insane asylum. Maybe a bit of a murder mystery, and another one we've talked about has been maybe more of a modern day. Somebody breaks in, visits, and gets pulled back in time, and we've thrown around some different ideas. There's just so much that could happen.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, and in that particular day and age, just judging by the artwork, I'm assuming we're talking like early, late 19th century, maybe mid 19th century time frame here. You could be thrown into an insane asylum just for being uncommunicative and struggling. Yeah, a lot. So, if you had some big brutish fellow with a pale complexion who couldn't communicate and ran from fire, and maybe might have had a couple of screws in the side of his head, you could see a village taking him down and throwing him into an asylum and locking him up, and that would be the place they would put Frankenstein's monster if he were to come back down from the north and wander into a village where an asylum was. So if that's the kind of,
we got several different ideas, several different directions that we can go. We kind of figure like if we could get something regularly going with at least for a little while, almost like they'd be like, I hate using the word episodes, but if you think of a series of like on TV, some of the scary series, like Tales from the Dark Side and things like that, they were self-contained stories. Boom. The next episode is something entirely different.
And not a springboard or anything, just new.
Right. And that the other aspect of that too is like a lot of the architecture and everything that you see here, the way that I do it is obviously with the German Expressionists, but that's not going to be the case in subsequent issues, subsequent stories. So you'll see more realistic and stuff like that.
All right, I'm looking at the stretch goals here. You've got the first one coming up at the $5,000 mark, where you'll be adding an additional trading card to all the 18 and up tiers. So if you bought 2 books or higher, then you'll be getting the additional trading card. A little bit of ways to go there, but plenty of time. I mean, I'm assuming this is still your first 30 days.
Yeah.
So you guys have kicked this $500 goal's butt by triple, almost quadruple in just 4 days' time. That's That's $500 a day. Keep that pace up, guys. That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And I might add, you've done it without the benefit of a YouTube channel.
Yep. Yep. It's been a couple days since we've been striked and can't stream.
It's been a crazy week of drama, the likes of which I have not seen in the Comicsgate community since late 2017.
Right.
So,
right. It's a pretty wild time. Probably the most interesting time since 2018. CG was a bunch of reruns for a while, and now there's finally new drama, I guess.
yes. Yeah, we were all getting along and it found our places, and it just kind of mellowed out. And then somebody threw a turd in the punch bowl, pointed to it, and said, "Look, there's my turd in the punch bowl." Oh, well.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even tell you, like, all I could say is that it angered me so much because, this is just a simple campaign. This is a simple, fun book. This is something that we wanted to be able to bring to people and deliver to people and just give them some entertainment, right? That's all we wanted to do. And this individual who I won't mention,
It was Liam.
because it was him. But I mean, he's not worthy of my recognition, and he'll be lucky if the two of us ever get on stream together. I will lose my cool, but I'm trying to maintain my cool now because this is the thing. We gotta try and overcome this hindrance that he's put upon our campaign. It's really hurt us. I hate to say it, but 2 days of not being able to campaign, we went from nearly $1,000 a day, right? Which you're not going to be able to maintain that every day or anything like that. But we've had 2 days of not being able to stream, and we've had like maybe 1 or 2 sales because we haven't been able to do that fan interaction on a regular basis on Nasser's channel, which that's a big part of crowdfunding right now. Yeah. Is you have to have that entertainment interaction.
Yeah, and
because of your guys.
And because I can't stream and I only have about I think 13 more days until I'm back at work, because we only had we had like 3 weeks off because of the virus. So it really was a blessing because I could have streamed whenever, and now I can't. And now so all this free time I had, I'm still filling it with writing, but I was doing so many streams. We were getting a lot of new subscribers. My channel was catching fire, and all this free time I had to stream. Well, now I just can't do it, and now I have to get on other people's channels, and it becomes a whole big thing of working out schedules, and sometimes people can't make it, or I can't make it for whatever reason. And it was just so convenient to stream whenever I, had the free time to, and to stream on my own channel, go for however long I want, and, put it in front of my fans. And now I can't. Now, pretty soon I'm going to be at work, and I'm just not going to have the option to stream anymore, not till February, unless he retracts it.
Yeah, well, it was a
so what it ends up with is we are very grateful to the people that have reached out to us to help us get our book in front of other people's eyes and stuff like you, Critical. I mean, we're so grateful to you, man. I can't even tell you.
Well, we're glad you guys are
wonderful and to do.
We appreciate all our guests. We definitely appreciate folks in the chat showing up. It's a lot more fun having guests and people in the chat than it is just me and a microphone talking into the void for 10 minutes and getting tired of it. Because I've been there, done that. That's how we start. But yeah, I was angry on you guys' behalf because that's like three channels just got struck for showing stuff the guy was working on. So I was like, that's not cool. I don't like people's voices being silenced, especially, well, not just especially, but it was particularly hard on creators who were relying on that channel to get the word out on their products that they're selling. Now, I never liked it when people would push to get someone pulled off of their television show, and I don't like it when people have people's YouTube channels janked. Now, yeah, it's a copyright thing, and you can rebut it, claim it as a false DMCA, and then he would have to turn around and say, yes, I am going to press the copyright charges, which would be very expensive on his part. Most of the time they don't do that, and you get your channel back, but you've lost all that time. And I'm really surprised that you lost the channel. It's supposed to be 3 strikes before you lose your channel.
Well, I didn't lose the channel. It's just I just can't go live.
Ah, okay. So the way I was understanding it was that the channels were down.
No, I mean, I could do videos, and I have done videos, but they just don't get the sales that a live stream does.
Sure. Yeah, just keep uploading the videos. And is this a temporary thing then? Do you get the live stream capability back?
Not till February.
Well, if he doesn't, you'll get it back in 10 days if he doesn't follow through with any kind of. If he tells them that if he shows them that he hasn't filed anything against you legally, then they have to let it go.
But I think that relies on you rebutting. So you have to tell YouTube that no, we did not violate copyright, and we're standing by our.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Good. Okay, then that ticks off the 10-day counter. That will. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's an asshole thing to do. I hope it never happens to him whenever he's got a book to push. But the thing is, when he does have a book to push, people will remember. And he probably won't have nearly as much success as he had with the Xenotype book. I don't know. I tried to, follow it all on Twitter, found out that he had us blocked. So I was like, well, okay, then you're already in that particular community. Good luck to you, sir. It's real smart when you're producing comics to block the sites that review and promote them, let alone the customers.
It's a really strange part of the indie crowdfunding scene. I don't want to say that it's just unique to Comicsgate, because it isn't, because I've seen it in other, outstretched, outlying ends of Comicsgate that aren't Comicsgate. But the whole competition aspect and drama aspect of the social media is just a really bad consequence, because ideally you want everybody to do good. You want even your competitors to do well, because that means there's a healthy market, and you want it to be a healthy market. You don't want a bunch of miserable customers out there who are saying, I'm not going to be picking up books because this artist is working with that writer, or my favorite creator doesn't like this one. That's not good for anybody,
No, it's not.
It might work in a small, tiny little bubble. It might work for a few people, but for how long? You're better off just if you don't like other people and other creators, just don't be involved with them. But let them do what they're doing.
That's too mature. We want this to be high school again, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all middle school cafeteria rules right now. You can't sit with certain people, and I don't know. It's like I said, I haven't seen this since 2017. I've been following this as a watcher for a long time. We've had the site and we've had the YouTube channel for 6 years, but I didn't really get into the live stream aspects of it until about a year and a half ago. And since then, it's been a wild ride. We've been enjoying it, but makes me almost wish I could create a comic. But alas, I'm just a lowly writer, and I have no art talents to my name. And I'm not going to pony up $6,000 to pay an artist up front to do a comic book with somebody.
Right.
Which
Well, you
gets-
don't need six. You don't need 6,000. You can get a pretty decent artist out there for, you know, depending on how big a book you want to do, but you can get a pretty good artist out there, and you just, you know, you kind of just really, if you want to start it out and you want to run like a 60-day campaign, and then do in demand, you could pay an artist, say, for 5 pages and start your campaign.
Yeah.
And then when you get funded and you get the money, then pay them to draw the rest while the book is in demand. I mean, it takes longer. It's not the model that me and Nasser are doing, because we're, you know, by the time that we would wind up in demand, all the art is going to be done and the book is going to be ready to ship as soon as we decide to ship it. So that's just how we are doing it, but that's not necessarily how it has to be done.
I'm guessing with the $500 goal, and both of you guys having been involved in Comicsgate projects before, that this was more of a partnership than it was paying an artist outright. I don't know your financial dealings on it, and I don't need to know them, but I'm just guessing it was like, let's share it.
We worked it out pretty good. We structured it so that the way that it works is, depending on how much we raise, we both came into the understanding that we might not raise anything, right?
Yeah.
And that we might not make anything off from it. But after that, we have it structured so as depending on where we do wind up landing, we will both get some sort of a payment and then split whatever profits. So it's I think we got it structured pretty well, don't you, Nasser?
Yeah, I think so. It's structured so the book comes out first. You know, that's what comes first, and then if we make a certain amount, you know, then Vic gets a certain amount, and then I get paid last.
Yep.
Yeah, Nasser gets paid last.
That's how it works. The guy who's the creator always gets paid last. You got to pay everybody else to help the thing come to fruition. So I know that you guys are working on other projects. Is there anything else that you guys want to bring up to be looking for in addition to ASYL while we're here?
I mean, as far as my other projects, I have 5 books on Amazon they could buy. The link is on the campaign page. If you scroll down, we have links with other places to support us.
And there they are. Yes, down there at the very bottom after the stretch goals. Ooh, you're going to color the cover at 10,000. I skipped that stretch goal. That'll be very cool. $15,000 stretch goal fan art gallery added to the book. And at 30,000, everybody gets a PDF of number 2 when it's completed. Obviously, after book 1 is fulfilled. So there's the pure and simple proof that ASYL 2 is being planned, folks. But it's not a continuation of this story. It's a completely separate story set in the same.
Well, there might be an Easter egg. You never know. Maybe you'll see the same background character or something, but there's no like direct tie-in. Like, it's not going to be the same characters. That's something I prefer to do with my sequels, with very few exceptions, is different characters each time.
It's a very good way to do it, to keep it fresh. I was thinking, Dracula and Asylums, they do go together. There's a history. Renfield wasn't he an asylum escapee that became Dracula's thrall in the novel?
Yes.
So there you go. Nurse Renfield can walk by and people can say, I get that reference. But yeah, here's the link to Nasser's author page on Amazon, YouTube channels, Twitter, newsletter, Patreon. You've got it going on here, Nasser. And then Vic's got his Twitter and his Ko-fi account. Is it Ko-fi? I don't know. But it's basically
Ko-fi or something like that.
Yeah, it's a tip jar. We have a tip jar. We have the PayPal me thing down there because we will take your money if you want to give it to us. We have no super chat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We are not prejudiced against the green. You've seen this chart behind me here, and I'll this is what's known as anal retention, because every day I go in and I check the hours watched, and I mark up here because we're at about 2,300 watch hours right now. We got to hit that 4,000 before we get to have all the really cool stuff on YouTube.
Oh, that's great.
So that's what you guys are doing for us. You're giving people something to watch and rewatch, and eventually we'll hit 4,000 and probably lose 1,000 from 12 months prior and have to start all over again. I had to explain to my son today, he's 13, is like how a sliding 12-month scale works, because he was asking about this thing. All right, well, I think that pretty much covers everything we've had to talk about. It's an interesting book. Definitely got a nice horror feel to it, and I think you guys have already proven that you got success with it. You've funded it. How long did it take you to fund that? Was it funded in the first day?
Oh yeah, first 2 hours.
Yeah, I knew it had to be fast, just given how far along you were here in only 4 days. So that's excellent sign. You've got some probably faithful backers, I'm guessing, from previous campaigns. You've done 5 of them already. So
no, I've only done a couple.
Oh, well, it says 5 campaigns under your name on here. That's fine.
Oh well, I mean, one failed, and one of them was just a second chance campaign, and one of them's this one.
Well, nevertheless, you've got a track record. The ones that have been funded have been delivered, I'm guessing. I mean, obviously.
Yes, two previous campaigns.
Because if you hadn't, I'm sure there would be a Twitter thread going on right now.
Definitely.
And goodness knows I've got more than I'm not sharing my screen anymore, but if I were to look at my contributions page, the entire back page is a list of titles from 2 years ago that I have not read yet. Not to mention any, offhand cock-a-doodle-doo. Yeah. So you probably have some of the same ones the same way if you're backing Indiegogos and Kickstarters and such from back in the day. So with that said, I'm going to say thank you for coming on the show, and we are going to end the stream. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
We will be here tomorrow, believe it or not, Thanksgiving night. We're going to do a Black Friday with Blastbeat ATX. We're just going to be looking at some things you can buy online. Blastbeat, Brian Cook, is a eBay retailer who does comics and sports cards. He's on our bi-weekly LCS Guys show. And as a reminder, 4 weeks from now, we'll be having the LCS Guys Christmas extravaganza. And then we'll be back after Thanksgiving, Friday night, with the cast and crew of Black Pumpkin, a horror film, an indie horror film that we have reviewed on our website. See, we told you we do movie reviews. So hope to see you all then. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.